In this tutorial, we'll learn JavaScript fundamentals, including variables, functions, and how to interact with a web page. First, create a file called index.html. This file will act as the main structure of your web page. Inside it, add the basic HTML structure, including the head and body sections. In the head, you can set the title of your page, which appears in the browser tab. In the body, add a heading, for example, using an h1 tag to display a title on the page. Then, create a button element that the user can click. Use the onClick attribute on the button to trigger a JavaScript function when it's pressed. This allows you to connect your HTML with interactive behavior. Finally, at the bottom of the body, add a script tag that links to your index.js file. This is important because it loads your JavaScript code into the web page, allowing the button and other elements to work properly. Placing the script at the bottom ensures that the HTML content loads first before the JavaScript runs. Next, go to your index.js file. This is where all your JavaScript code will be written. To make sure everything is connected properly, start by adding a simple console log message. This message will help you confirm that your JavaScript file is successfully linked to your HTML page. Inside the file, type a console.log statement that prints a message like JavaScript is connected to the browser console. Then, create two variables using the let keyword. Variables are used to store data that you can reuse later in your program. One variable will store a name, and the other will store an age. For example, you can create a variable called name and assign it a value like James. Then, create another variable called age and assign it a number like 25. These values can be changed later if needed, which makes variables very useful when working with JavaScript. Next, create a function called changeText in your index.js file. A function is a block of code that runs only when it is called. This function will be connected to your index.html page, so it runs when the button is clicked. Inside the function, you will display a message that tells the user they click the button. To do this, you can use JavaScript to find an element on the page and change its text content. When the button is clicked, the message "you click the button" will appear on the screen. Next, we can use a simple condition in JavaScript to make decisions based on a value. In this example, we will check a person's age. If the age is greater than 18, we will display a message saying the person is an adult. Otherwise, we will display a message saying the person is under 18. This is done using an if-else statement, which is used to run different blocks of code depending on whether a condition is true or false. Next, we'll learn how to use a loop in JavaScript. Loops allow you to repeat a block of code multiple times. In this example, we'll use a for loop to count from 1 to 3. Inside the loop, we'll print a message to the console each time the loop runs. Open the terminal and run your JavaScript file using Node.js. Then check the output in the terminal to see messages like JavaScript is connected. The name James, age 25, whether you are an adult, and the counting numbers 1, 2, 3. Finally, open your index.html file in VS Code. To run your project, right-click the file and select Open with Live Server. This will open your web page in the browser. Once the page loads, you will see your heading, message, and button. When you click the button, it will run your JavaScript function and change the text from hello to you click the button. You have completed your first JavaScript tutorial and learned the basics like variables, functions, conditions, and loops.